As global power demand surges, driven by AI, data centers, and electrification, nuclear energy is back at the center of the Davos, Switzerland agenda. One U.S. company is drawing attention for a next gen nuclear fusion designed to boost output, improve safety, and cut emissions. Seth Grae joins us now. He is the president and CEO of Lightbridge. Really nice to have you. Let's talk first and foremost about why you think nuclear energy is more critical today than it ever has been before.
And that's certainly been part of the discussions here at Davos, from President Trump to Elon Musk talking about how critical electricity is, including nuclear providing it. And I think part of it is the surging growth for electric power that needs to be a little different than it's been in the past for constant, reliable, massive amounts of power, particularly for AI data centers that can't use intermittent electricity. So, really, only nuclear can scale to such massive amounts of power and have it be so reliable. And also, many of these companies around the world want it to be clean, and nuclear has no emissions.
AI and data center build out is, of course, driving a huge surge in power demand, especially at the community level. How big is the gap right now? How big of a challenge is this? And why do you think renewables can't really close it all alone?
The scale is enormous. OpenAI and Microsoft are building a data center complex in Texas that will need 5 gigawatts electric. New York City uses 8 gigawatts electric. I mean, that's just staggering. So the needs are running away from us, and there's so little power that comes from each added unit of solar or wind. To add these levels of power, it'd be like talking about adding several New York cities that'll be powered by renewables. That's really not feasible. But also, you won't get the power these data centers need because they need it to be such constant power, and the wind and solar power doesn't produce at all at some times. And to back that up with batteries not only is extremely expensive, and you can't do it for those levels of power with batteries, but it also would just increase reliance on China for rare earths and other products coming out of China.
What makes Lightbridge's metallic fuel so much different from, let's say, traditional nuclear fuel?
Yeah, we're really the only new fission fuel in the world. Others are using some old fuel ideas that they're adapting for new reactors. But our fuel can be used in the existing reactors as well as in new reactors. And in the existing reactors, it can increase the power output tremendously and increase the safety of the reactors too. And this metal fuel has many different properties that allow it to do that, including greater heat transfer, shorter path for the heat to escape from the rod. There's a lot of things that go into this, and we're testing it now in the Advanced Test Reactor at Idaho National Laboratory. That reactor will hit an outage in about April, and we'll study results from some of the samples that come out of it, and during 2026 have those results. So we're looking for this to be a landmark year for the company to really show that we're on track on producing these benefits.
Seth, we hear a lot of these headlines about big tech increasingly becoming these kind of energy plays as well. They're turning to solutions like nuclear for their data center build outs. What does that tell you about not just where we are today, but where we will be in the future for clean baseload power?
I think that nuclear, which right now is the majority of clean baseload power, will continue to be and will grow disproportionately more within that category than others. And what we're seeing is the data centers turning predominantly to the electric grid to get this power, and new reactors predominantly being planned in places around the world that already have reactors where the local community is accepting of it and the power can go out over the grid. So, we do expect to see our market not just being the existing reactors, but many new reactors across the US and around the world. And at least for some time, I think the majority of those will be added to sites that already have reactors.
Seth, why do you see industry collaboration, including a name like Oklo, certainly very well familiar to a lot of our viewers, so essential right now? And how do those relationships come together uniquely in the lane that you're in?
They come together uniquely for Lightbridge and Oklo. We're not seeing much, if any, cooperation among other advanced reactor companies. And we really know each other very well as people and as companies, and respect what each other are doing, our technologies. There are ways they can work together. We're looking at potentially using Oklo's technology to reprocess Lightbridge's used fuel and recycle the materials into Oklo's fuel for use. We're looking at co-locating our fuel manufacturing plants to save both companies on capital cost and operating cost in doing this, and sharing in many different things together, from licensing and security potentially to materials procurements. There's a lot that I think the two companies can do together, even though what we're doing is very different, with Lightbridge developing fuels that will produce fuels for predominantly existing reactors and then new ones, and Oklo developing a new advanced reactor that will produce electricity, as well as something we won't do, produce heat and steam for industry.
How much of the growth of your company would you say you can attribute, at least in part, to policy momentum, things policy and lawmakers are doing, government support as a whole?
Oh, tremendously. When I said we are in this reactor at Idaho National Laboratory, it's the largest test reactor in the world. It's been controlled only by the US government, particularly for the Navy, and they've allowed us to use it. That is a multi-billion-dollar reactor that we're getting access to. The government gave us highly enriched uranium provided from Department of Energy stockpiles that allows this testing to go faster than it's ever gone before. And Lightbridge is really at the leading edge of that, using technology developed by Idaho National Laboratory to speed up the testing in reactors. We're using their expertise, we're using equipment. So the support of the government is not only essential, but has just been remarkable at how much has been done to speed up, what we're doing to help bring this fuel to market.
Lightbridge President and CEO Seth Grae here to make the case. Congratulations on the growth. Been incredible last year and change for you and the company, and appreciate you taking the time to join us from Davos. Nice to have you.
Thank you.